Okay, fourth grade, what I'm going to have you do today is practice partial products with multiplication. So while I'm talking and introducing you to it, what I want you to do is make sure that you have your whiteboard lap book that I made you in front of you with a marker that works and an eraser, or a piece of notebook paper with a pencil and an eraser. Okay, so what we're going to be doing with partial products is it's basically another way to multiply. Remember, we're learning all of these strategies so that we have more than one way to do the same thing. Now, what I love about partial products is because once you practice and practice and practice, very soon you'll be able to do it in your head, and you'll be able to multiply multi-digit numbers by a single digit in your head. But it takes practice, and it takes rewatching, pausing this, and doing everything along with me, okay? So everything should be in front of you and ready to go. So like always, we're going to practice some of the things we already learned that we're going to be using when we do the partial products multiplication. So I'm going to write a number on the chalkboard here. You do not need to write this down, but I want you to be thinking with me. This number is 385. Okay? So I want you to think in your head, is this 3 really worth 3? Just 3? Is this 8 really worth 8? Is this 5 just worth 5? No, we know this. We've built numbers. We've talked about the value in their different places. So let's look at this 3. This 3 is worth 300. This 3 is in the hundreds place. So if we were building this number, we wouldn't get 3 little ones out. We would get 300 flats out. This 8 is worth 80. 80 is in the that 8 is in the tens place. So when we were building this number, we wouldn't just get 8 ones out. We would get 8 10 rods out. That 8 is worth 80. And this 5 is worth 5 ones because it's in the ones place. So we would get just 5 little 1 cubes out. Now I'm going to write a number down, and I want you to write it down this time. And I want you to just kind of draw an arrow like we always do and tell me what each place is worth. So I'm going to write down this number, 257. I want you to pause the video, and I want you to go ahead and write what each number in this 257 is worth. So I'll give you a hint. This 7 is just worth 7. Think of if we built this number, we would just get out 7 ones. Okay? I want you to do that with the rest of it. Pause the video and go ahead and do it. Okay, fourth grade, let's review now. This 5, it would be worth 50. It is in the tens place. So we know that there's 5 tens, and 5 tens is worth 50. This 2 would be worth 200. The 2 is in the hundreds place, so we would get out 2 hundreds flats if we were building this number. The 2 is worth 200. That's a big part of what we're going to be using when we use partial products. Remember, we spent all this time with place value, and I told you, you have to understand it. There's a reason for it. And now is one of those times. Okay, so you know how to do a problem that looks like this. Let me put it on the board here. So if I told you, solve the problem 324 times 3, there's a bunch of ways you could do it. You might do it using a calculator, or you might do it using the algorithm, 3 times 4, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, and putting it all down below here. Now, say you want to use a new method. This is where partial products comes into play. Now, I do not want you to write this down. I just want you to watch and think through this with me. Okay, so what I would do is I would first break apart my multi-digit number. So I know this 3 is worth 300, the 2 is worth 20, and the 4 is worth just 4. Okay, so I'm going to write that down, and it's almost like you wrote it in expanded form, which we have been doing over and over again. So the 3 is worth 300. The 2 is worth 20, and the 4 is worth just 4. Okay? Now, if we were really writing this in expanded form, we would put all those addition marks in, but we're not going to do that right now. So what we'll do now is we're just going to take every single digit here worth whatever we're multiplying by. So I'm going to take it times 3. So I'll take that 300 times 3 because that's really what we're doing up here. The 20 times 3 and the 4 times 3. Because think about it, when we take 3 times 4 in the algorithm, yes, we say it's 12, and we take 3 times the 2, yes, it is 3 times 20. We're not taking 3 times 2 because we would put that 6 over here in the tens place, okay? So now this is easy. This is one of the first things we did in multiplication. Remember, we discovered that shortcut where you multiply the numbers that aren't 0 and then add on the zeros to the end. So I would take the 3 times 3, and that gives me 9. And then add on the 2 zeros. I would take the 2 times 3, and that gives me 6. And then add on the 1 zero. And then 4 times 3, we've been doing that forever, that gives us 12. So now we have 3 different numbers here. We have 900, 60, and 12. Well, to get the partial product, all we're going to do is just add them all up. Now, I'm going to flip my board here, that way I can line these all up really nicely. Remember, when we add, we want all the tens to line up, all the hundreds, all the ones. So I'm going to put 900 plus 60, and then plus 12. Remember, you're not writing, you're just watching. Okay? So as you can see, all my ones are lined up, all my tens are lined up, and all my hundreds are lined up, and I just took these numbers from over here. So then I'm just going to go through and add. 0 plus 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 plus 6 plus 1 is 7. And 9 plus 0 plus 0 is 9. So our answer would be 972. Do you see how using partial products, it was easier? We got numbers that are easier to work with because we know that trick with the zeros. Now, just to prove to you that the answer 972 is correct, I'm going to do the algorithm up here. So 324 times 3. We know that we would do 3 times 4, and that gives us 12. We'll put the 2 below and carry the plus 1. 3 times 2 gives us 6, plus 1 gives us 7. Nothing to carry over then. And then 3 times 3 gives us 9. So see, we got 972 either way. Okay? This way is just easier to work in your head because it gives us easy numbers to work with, and you don't have to remember as many numbers. Okay, now it's going to be your turn. We're going to walk through one together. Okay? So what I want you to do is get everything out in front of you, and you're going to copy down the problem. Okay, so the problem I want you to write at the tippy top so you have tons of space is 465 times 3. So let's get right into it. We're going to break apart this number 465. Okay? So whenever I think of that 4, what's that 4 worth? That 4 isn't worth just 4. Think about it. What place value is it in? If I was building this number, what would I use? So for that 4 is worth 400. So I'm going to put that right below here, 400. Just like with expanded form, we're going to go to the next one. What's this 6 worth? That 6 isn't just a 6 or a 600. What place is that in? That 6 is worth 60. Okay, and the very last one, this 5. What's that 5 worth? What place is it in? That 5 is just worth 5 because it's in the 5 column. Okay, do you see how we did that 4th grade? And you're right, normally we would put our addition signs if we were making an expanded form because we just broke apart the number. We want to add it all back and put it all together to get our whole number. Now, since we're multiplying by 3, we're going to take that times 3 to each of these numbers. So take a second and fill those out. What would 400 times 3 be? What would 60 times 3 be? What would 5 times 3 be? And you can pause it for a second if you'd like to do that. I know most of you are very, very quick with this ever since we discovered that trick. So if I think of 400 times 3, I'm going to take the numbers that aren't 0, 4 times 3, and that gives me 12. Then I'll add in the 2 zeros. So I get 1,200 here. Now let's move on to the 60 times 3. Okay, so I'll take the numbers that aren't 0, 6 times 3, and that gives me 18. And I only have 1 0 here, so that gives me 180. And then this is easy. You should have known this back in 2nd grade. 5 times 3 gives us 15. Now make sure you have those answers and you understand where they all came from. The next thing we need to do is, think about it, what's the next thing we need to do? Add them all together. So remember, when we set up these addition problems, we need all of the 1s to line up, all of the 10s, all of the 100s, all of the 1s, anything that we're using, they all need to line up. Okay, so yours should look like mine. Do you see how all my 1s are lined up, all my 10s, all my 100s, and all my 1000s? So go ahead and let's start adding through this. 0 plus 0 plus 5 gives us 5. 0 plus 8 plus 1 gives us 9. 2 plus 1 gives us 3. And 1 plus 0 plus 0 gives us 1. So our answer is 1,395. Now, if you wanted to, you can go back and double check that, which don't write this down. Let's just watch me double check this. 5 times 3 gives us 15. I'll put the 5 below and carry the 1. 3 times 6 gives us 18 plus 1 is 19. Carry the 1. 3 times 4 gives us 12 plus 1 is 13. So we got the same exact answer. I want you to clear your lapboards and get ready. I'm going to give you a problem, and I want you to do it and then leave it on your lapboards with all of this work, and we're going to go over it first thing tomorrow. Alright, 4th grade, this is the problem I want you to have done for tomorrow. Remember, I don't care if it's 100% correct, but I do want to see work to see that you've tried, because remember, you can go back and re-watch and rewind this video. I want you to tell me what 526 times 4 is using partial products. Remember, you can use your Post-its on your lapboard too to write down any questions you might have. Thanks for watching, 4th grade.